I have a neurodegenerative brain disease called Huntington's.
When you've got this gene in the family, it is a dagger over your head. It's a threat to your longevity, and you'll end up dying from it.
You just have to decide every day that you're going to just push through.
People were saying I was walking a bit funny.
What is killing these brain cells? I'm confident in my lifetime we will have better treatments for Huntington's patients.
The first time I really heard about Huntington's and came to understand it was talking to my GP. He asked me if I had any health issues in the family, and I said, my granddad had this thing, I don't know a lot about it. I think it was called Huntington's. And so that sort of sparked a relatively epic journey in my life. Because it's affected my granddad, 2 of his kids have it. One is my dad. Learning more and more about it was such an eye-opening and difficult thing to go through. My grandfather, he was diagnosed not long after they discovered it.
The gene for Huntington's was discovered in 1993. Huntington's is known as a hereditary disease. So the way the inheritance pattern works is that if your parent has 1 copy of the gene, they have a 50% chance of passing that gene on to you. I have the privilege of knowing Micheal, and he's been a huge asset to promoting Huntington's disease and creating awareness of it and the impact it has on younger people that have Huntington's disease in their families.
Hi, Micheal, how are you?
I'm good, thanks.
What you represent, Micheal, is someone who is brave enough to come forward and talk about how Huntington's affects you personally.
People are private because they are worried about how it's going to affect how other people think about them, potentially their employment, etc., etc. My parents were worried that it would affect whether or not I would even be a desirable partner. So I can understand why people want to keep it private. So this is me and my dad. Dad didn't find out that he had Huntington's until about 5 years ago. And he only really found out because I had started to learn about it. My immediate family chose to hope it had passed us and we didn't need to worry about it, but also they didn't understand it.
It was kept hidden. If you've got defective genetics in the family, which is going to cause your loved ones to die, you don't necessarily want to put it out there for everyone to see. Its effect on the brain is not just in one region, but it affects what we call the basal ganglia in the centre, affects the cortex, the folded part on the outside of the brain. It affects how you think, your mental state alters, your movement area also alters, and it can spread to affect other parts of your brain.
Initially, Dad was having some symptoms, but they weren't obvious to us. They were quite subtle. Now Dad's Huntington's starting to change who he is.
The life expectancy of someone who has adult onset Huntington's disease ranges from about 10 to 20 years from the point of showing symptoms.
I decided to do the test because I came to the decision that knowing that I had Huntington's could only improve my life, in that what it would do was inform all of the decisions that I made from then on in. Actually, taking the test is awful. You have to be okayed to do it by a psychologist, doctor, and the genetic counsellor. And they talk to you about your anxiety, and they talk to you about whether or not you've had major depression and whether or not you've thought about killing yourself. It's a hard and horrible thing to do, to go and face something like that. I was about 28 when I was diagnosed. One of the things that really worries me is that, for example, with my father, it affects his decision-making. And working in any job, you need to be able to execute decisions all the time. And so working from home was a sort of obvious answer.
I'm a graphic designer, sometimes illustrator, and I'm mostly a dad taking care of my 9.5-month-old son.
It is 50-50. Finn has Huntington's.
In Huntington's disease, we've come a long way since the discovery of the gene. The unique thing about Huntington's is we have a molecular signature, which is that gene that causes the disease. And for many, many years, scientists have been trying to figure out how to turn down that gene so that your good gene that you inherited from the parent that does not have Huntington's disease can take over and allow you to live a normal life. The gene for Huntington's disease causes the production of a protein, and this protein builds up in the brains of these patients. And in that protein, there is a little signature. It's like a motif, and that motif has a pattern on it. In a person with Huntington's disease, the length of that motif is longer than usual. My mission now, my research focus, is to map out this protein in all the different brain cell types of our human brain to figure out what part of it we can just chuck off or turn down or change and shut down the bit that's causing the disease.
I'm Chris. My dad and my brother have HD as well. People began noticing my physical onset around 2013. I was 33 then. Like a slow train wreck, pretty much.
I had the privilege of meeting Chris after he was tested for Huntington's disease. Obviously, he's now displaying significant movement differences.
My movements have come on quite a bit recently, which has been tiring sometimes. Yeah, it's quite a bit of effort to move around all the time.
People who have Huntington's display interesting symptoms when they're in their midlife, between the ages of, say, 35 and 45. And those symptoms can look extremely variable. They could be movement symptoms affecting your ability to walk, your ability to carry out fine motor tasks like drinking. With the onset of motor symptoms, you have what is known as chorea. Chorea is Latin for dance-like. That's where you have the writhing, convoluted movements that are typically represented in Huntington's disease. Huntington's can also affect your personality and your cognition or your ability to retain memories. It's variable from patient to patient.
Thank you very much.
Cool.
When we first met, his symptoms were very minimal. He did have like a drunk kind of staggering walk, but that was about it. Obviously, it's not a good long-term prognosis, and the condition is very debilitating.
Christopher's decline has been, or my observation has been, relatively quick. And I'm basing this on a comparison with the other family members who I observed. G'day, I brought you a basket of goodies.
Oh, so, thanks.
In my family, my father-in-law had Huntington's disease. My brother-in-law died of Huntington's disease. My husband, Peter, died also of Huntington's disease. And both my sons have been tested, and they are both gene positive.
Oh, nice of you to come visit today, Mary.
My husband, the way it affected him was more in terms of behaviour and personality. He was a reasonably happy-go-lucky sort of a guy, and he developed quite a nasty temper and would just have explosive rages, really for nothing, for no reason.
Yeah, and he ended up in a home for 20 years or 10 years or something, which was pretty intense, because he wasn't an old man.
So how are things going?
With Huntington's, you don't know what you're going to get. It's like a lottery. Chris, unfortunately, seems to have a lot of movement issues.
Yeah, I've had to learn not to compare Christopher to his dad or to his uncle or even to his brother, because how the condition is affecting him specifically affects him and nobody else.
Some patients have mood disorders, some patients have movement disorders, and this is what, from a scientific point of view, researchers are trying to crack. What is the basis of variability of symptoms in Huntington's, despite it being a single gene disorder?
Are you aware of changes?
I don't know. It takes so long to process anything anyway. It's hard.
You are aware of what's happening to you?
Yeah, eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
If new stuff pops up again, it takes a while to kind of process, to kind of figure it out. Unless Nikki tells me.
Chris mentally is very capable, and we openly discuss our future and what that looks like, even the bad stuff, like needing in-home help or whether we can't even cope with that and if we need to go to a facility. There's so many things that can just change in an instant, and we have to prepare for that. That should be good.
The progression of the illness can vary from patient to patient. Normally you have around 15 to 20 years before the disease eventually takes over life.
So we'll just do a few basic standard tests that we do in Huntington's. So the first thing is just keep your head still and look at my finger. So I'm just looking at the movement of Chris's eyes and Chris's smooth pursuits, which are the slow, smooth movements of his eyes. Okay. And they're pretty good, actually. So now I'll look at some of his quicker eye movements.
When he does some of the testing stuff with the neurologist, like some of the things he did with Matt, that is when he can kind of see what he can't do.
With your right hand, can you just hold it up and do big and fast motions?
I'd say the first year, nothing really changed. The last 9 months, probably, he has had changes every 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, just do this.
So we've gone from a change in a year to a change every 6 months to, every 2 to 3 months we have something new now.
Very good. Yeah.
He needs to be reminded to have a shower, needs to be reminded to brush his teeth. I have to help him with shaving. So he can still dress himself and still do all the activity. He just needs to be reminded to do them.
Okay, Chris, can you just walk down to the end of the hallway and back?
That whole signal and that whole memory thing of being able to, going on, these are the things I should do, is gone.
So I've seen Chris's progression over time. What I love is his attitude. Him and Nikki are amazing individuals.
We've known each other since we're 13, 14, and we dated in high school, end of high school and a bit of the first year of uni. Left it there and did our own thing. So hadn't seen each other in 20 years and then randomly bumped into each other 3 years ago. Straight away, it was very comfortable, very familiar. Different chemistry, like straight away.
It wasn't really a decision, just sort of happened. Unavoidable.
Life is short, and I guess we've chosen to embrace it, have fun, make as many memories as we can, and just enjoy the time that we've got.
Nikki makes me happy because she's just a good person and she just cares about everything, which is pretty amazing.
And so we're like, okay, well, let's get married in June. We haven't actually even discussed vows. You're going to have to write something.
What's a vow? What a vows?
The wedding is very important for a lot of people. Like, obviously, it's important for us and it's exciting and stuff. But I think a lot of his family need this as well. They need this memory. They need this fun time to celebrate with him.
Typically, the onset of Huntington is between 35 to 45 years of life. There are some people that don't show Huntington's till their 60s.
I haven't had any symptoms yet other than bad memory, but my family has late onset. After I was diagnosed, there was, quite a substantial change. I started just doing meditation every day. Meditation's not going to save your life, but it definitely helps you slow things down. And then changing my diet. Taking care of yourself should just help all round. So, I kind of monitor how much I'm drinking. I try not to get a hangover, and eating really well. You sort of know that you're doing everything that you can do to help yourself in the long run.
We're getting closer and closer to tailor-made therapies for treatments with Huntington's. Ideally, if I was a patient, I'd just want to take something orally. But a lot of these treatments are being given in quite dramatic ways.
The next hope is, which is now being tried, is looking at injecting a chemical into the brain itself and seeing if that will slow and turn the gene down and stop the symptoms. There's been so much interest in Huntington's disease because it's a single gene disease that if we could get a cure for Huntington's, that would help us with Parkinson's, the Alzheimer's, they're multi-gene diseases. And why I'm doing brain research is to give these people hope.
You feeling good?
I was introduced to Pierre by a mutual friend.
How's Finn been today?
That's been great.
He has been great. He's been charming everyone.
She's really bright and she's very passionate.
I was instantly attracted to him, and I liked his sense of humour. We have a similar sense of humour. Okay. I thought he was funny and fun, and I was totally besotted when I met him. I already knew he had Huntington's when I met him. Part of what really attracted me to Mike was that he has this amazing perspective on life. He knows that this is going to happen to him, so he has to make the most of every day and prioritise what is really important and not get caught up in the silly stuff. Did you hear anything else from NTB? I found that so refreshing.
When we found out that we were going to have Finn, it was quite shocking and very overwhelming, but then very exciting. We had a lot of conversations around whether or not to test Finn while he was in vitro. My mum was really good. When I spoke to her, she said, well, if you think about it, if we had the choice when we were having you, if we found out that you were positive, we would have aborted you. So you wouldn't be here, you wouldn't be living this life. You wouldn't be doing all of these things that are, really great.
When I found out I was pregnant, we had to think about the fact that Finn has a 50% chance of having it.
People have children. That's a very natural thing to do, especially if you're in a relationship, you've got a partner. And so if you do have a child and that child has not been tested for Huntington's disease, then normally what happens is that child then makes the informed choice when they reach the age of 18 years if they want to get tested or not. Exactly what Michael did. He made an informed choice when he was over the age of 18. His son has the same legal rights.
I am worried a little bit about when we're older, when Finn is older, and when I am symptomatic or even just more irrational. Because I know my dad, he could get stuck in a fight, and that's sort of a dementia kind of thing, which is part of Huntington's. I worry about when he's that age. I don't know what I'm going to be like, and I want to be somebody that he can go to for advice when he's older. I think you want to be able to help them for as long as you can do, and I'm worried that as I change, I might not be that person for him. I worry about how it's going to affect my family. Nobody wants to see their family member deteriorate, and I don't want to cause them that heartache. It just happens because of what's happening.
I would like to think in 10 years' time we can actually tell someone who gets a test for the gene, and if they're gene positive, saying, well, we can give you something, we can treat you so that you won't get this disease, or slow it down, or even stop it before it starts.
we've bought this house, so that's the next exciting step. We'll be settling in there and making it a home.
Oh, look, some features. One of the things about being diagnosed with Huntington's is that it gives you an appreciation for those small things in your life. You just have to keep going. There's not like an easy answer. You just have to basically decide every day that you are going to just push through.
You do these days.
By being exposed to this result and information that you don't want to hear, you will also learn a great deal about yourself. It means that you can look at things for what they are.
And you're in charge of the garden.
Don't know about the roses.
I know that it's something that I will face in the future, but I know that I'll be there for him to face that. That will be Finn's room. He's brought me down to earth, I think. He's made me see what is important and what's not important.
It's not that I believe that there's hope. I know there is hope because I see what people like Micheal and Finn are going through, and I'm like frustrated. You know, from a scientist's point of view, we're like so close to the edge of a breakthrough. We're almost there.
So today Chris and I get married. Everything has just fallen into place. I'm pretty excited to get out there, and it should be a pretty fantastic day. He grounds me. He's kind of helped me to appreciate life. We just don't know what time we've got. We've decided to just enjoy life.
Have to look at it that way. I mean, you know, otherwise you're waiting for the bus to hit. Wedding time. You always have to look for the joy. Always.
It took them 20 years to finally get here, but now that we're here, I know that we're all very excited for them.
I've already asked for so much from you, and you've given without question. I want to be as strong as I can be for you. You're an incredible woman, and I'm a very lucky man. I love and choose you, Nikki.
You've shown me how to relax and enjoy the little things. I choose to love you and support you and be your biggest advocate. To smile, laugh and cry with you in good times and in bad. I choose you forever. I love you.